period
I'm
and story.
Charles Goldfarb, and the time period is roughly from 1969 to 1989. And during that period, at the beginning of it, I knew nothing of the internet. Well, for the first 5 years, there wasn't one officially, although I was working in IBM, and my interest was in developing a document management system. And in the course of doing that, we were able to get separate computer systems to share documents together, which of course is what the internet lets us do. But we found that that wasn't enough because the different applications couldn't use the documents that the other applications used, because each application had put its own special commands into the document. So that caused
Incompatibility or interoperability problem?
well, the documents got there, but then the text of it was polluted with the commands for the system that had created it. And those commands didn't mean anything. The commands that were in there for information retrieval had nothing to do with the commands that the typesetting system needed, that kind of thing. So we figured out a way to create a generalized form of markup. That's what the added information was called, so that all of the systems could use it, no matter where it started from. And that later became an international standard, and that's when we started running across this TCP/IP thing, in both senses of the word. We needed to get the standard ready for publication. We were running behind schedule, so I finished up the text in California, shipped it over the internet to a colleague at CERN in Switzerland, got on a plane, and when I got there the next morning, it was at my hotel desk was a camera-ready copy of the 200-page standard in ISO style, ready to be turned in to them for printing.
Was it error-free?
Except for some in the content, yes. And so that was how TCP/IP helped HTML get produced. And then, of course, HTML became the adopted for the World Wide Web, and XML, its simple subset of HTML for the data on the World Wide Web, and that, of course, gave TCP/IP something to do. That's where we paid back the synergism.
After you took that trip to CERN and you saw that document, did the light go off and say, this is really the dawn of something, really quite novel?
Well, that certainly, but even earlier, because there was a massive documentation problem in the world, and still is. A single model of airplane, commercial jet, requires 4 million pages of documentation. Isn't that a ridiculous number? And it has to be updated every 3 months. So the management of that whole process is beyond a single human's ability to cope with. And then consider all the models of airplane there are in the world. And when you modify a model and add new equipment to it or replace things, that has to get documented separately as well. So effectively, every plane becomes its own model. Big job. Not one I can do, but people used SGML to do it, and XML. Still do.
So lastly, reflect back personally on what the internet is today. How far have we come? Are you marveling at this incredible communications?
Yeah, it's well beyond anything I conceived of when using it or contributing to it. I just have some fears for tomorrow. And if we think viruses are bad when they affect software, what happens when they infect something produced with a 3D printer, like a body organ? So there's chances for real evil as well as real good. And that's, I guess, true with any exciting new technical important innovation.